All right, hey, what's going on, Mortgage Coach Tribe? This is Dan Keller up here in beautiful Seattle, Washington. I'm filling in for Mr. Dave Savage today, and I get to speak on one of my favorite topics, and it's a topic that is a huge part of my business, and it's a huge part of getting me to where I'm at today, and it's on video marketing. And specifically today, we're gonna talk about connecting with your past clients and increasing your referability with them, as well as heading into this 2017-2018 market, how to meet new real estate agents using video. The first thing I want to talk about, though, before we get going is the whole idea around this, and Dave and I have a lot of conversations around video and internet marketing and social media, is to kind of showcase the benefits of what Mortgage Coach has done and the power behind this software. And so what I'm going to talk about probably for the first 5 minutes is I'm going to give some examples of how I use Mortgage Coach and how we all as mortgage professionals should be educators in today's market, and how some of the top loan originators in the country are using Mortgage Coach. But first I want to kind of start off by opening up at any point in time. Marcy and I are here to entertain any questions that you have. So there's a question bar on the side. If you want to type in your question, we'll get to those every 15 or 20 minutes. I'm going to try to pause and answer some of those questions. I've also put my cell phone up here, so if you want to text me a question, that's fine. One of the things that, one of the reasons why anytime Dave asks me to jump on a call here, I openly do so, because Dave Savage and the Mortgage Coach team have done so much for my business over the years. I've been using Mortgage Coach since 2011. And been an instrumental part of growing my business and converting, quite honestly. Mortgage Coach has been a difference maker in upping my conversion ratios. And so anything I can do to give back to the Mortgage Coach community, let me know. You can message me. There's my cell phone right there. You can text me, and I'll do everything I can to get back to you and answer your questions, even after the call. So let's go ahead and jump in here. So the whole idea about moving into 2018 and beyond is the power of mobile. The power of video, but more specifically how everything is navigating over to mobile. And I love what Mortgage Coach has done to really emphasize and put us on a platform where we can use a total cost analysis, and we can use the Mortgage Coach Edge from our mobile devices, not only editing those now, but creating videos and working on reports from our mobile device. As you can see, I use Mortgage Coach Edge a lot. I use video as much as possible. Hey, sometimes, as you can see in this example, it's right after a workout, and I'm responding to a client. This was particularly a report that I did, a rent versus own report that I did, and I've done follow-up video replies to clients, and it doesn't really matter. I think people in today's day and age understand, and they respect and value authenticity. And so obviously we want to maintain a high level of professionalism. That's what the Mortgage Coach platform does. But when I do videos, sometimes it doesn't always have to be in the office. And that's a great example right there. And then our friend Dave Ramsey, he's been on the Mortgage Coach interviews before. He gives a great tip here, and I really want to emphasize this because this is something that I'm really trying to work on in my life, in my business, is keeping my videos short. Videos do need to be authentic. They need to be short. You don't need a 45-minute production where you're sitting down and your hair is just right and your tie is just right. You need to be authentic, exactly what I just said before. You need to be direct and to the point, and don't drag it out. He says try to keep everything under 1 minute, 26 seconds. I don't know where he came up with that, but a minute and a half is definitely a good number to shoot for. All right, so this is a great example. I kind of want to start off today because this is what I'm going to spend some time on. This is my weekly Making Sense of the Market's video update. I send this out every single week. This last Saturday was episode number 32. And the reason why I used this slide is it gives a great example of something that has also played a huge role in my business, from not only just teaching me about the mortgage industry and better understanding how the markets move, but if you're not leveraging the Rate Watch app, more specifically the content that Dan Rawitz shares every single day, every single morning. I wake up with that guy, and sometimes I wish I was with him because he's always selling around, and it always seems like he's having a lot of fun. But I wake up with that guy listening to his commentary, and it literally teaches me through osmosis what the markets are doing and how they move. So I encourage you to leverage that. It's really easy, depending on the type of computer that you use or the type of phone you have, to take a screenshot and literally edit it and share it on social media. I do it every single week. So I take a screenshot. I'm a Mac user. I take a screenshot of the rate watch, what the market did that week. I go in and edit it. It takes me less than a minute to do both. And then I share it on social media, or I drop it into a report like this. So I want to encourage you to leverage that, both from an educational standpoint and then from an advisor standpoint, teaching your past clients, your current clients, your followers on social media that you're a professional, you're a front runner, you know what's going on in the markets, and it takes the focus off of you just pitching and selling all the time. So I wanted to kind of start off by that slide. One of the other things I want to talk about is to make sure as a Mortgage Coach Tribe member that you're leveraging the free Tuesday interviews. I mean, I don't even know how to say Wally's last name. I've known the guy for 3 years. I love him to death. I don't know if there's any other guy in the mortgage industry that crushes it like he does with the name Wally, so we'll just call him Wally from Texas. But some of these interviews, you guys, these are guys and gals that are absolutely leading the industry from a production standpoint, from a professionalism standpoint, from a systems and structure standpoint, and Dave does an absolutely great job showcasing them. This is one, I know the image is kind of dark, but it's with the call with Tom Ferry. Super valuable stuff. Share it with your realtor partners, okay? Quick intro to me. Okay, just to kind of go over some of my production numbers so you know kind of where I'm coming from. In 2016, I'm a mortgage loan officer up here in the Seattle market, specifically Kirkland area with New American Funding. 2016, I closed about $52 million in production with 153 units. 2017, today, so we are on August 8th, 2017. As of July 31st, closed about $42 million and 124 units. I have a team of 4. They're all admin and support. I'm the only one that meets with clients. I'm the only one that sells. This is what I'm going to transition into my presentation today. In 2016, my coach makes me audit my production, where it came from, how I got it, and 27% of my business in 2016 came from the internet, and I didn't pay a penny. I did 0 paid online marketing. Out of that, this is what's great. Hey, you want to build relationships with real estate agents, top producing agents, agents that can move the needle in your business, give them referrals. I gave out 47 referrals in 2016 to real estate agents. That's big, and this is kind of funny to even think about this. That's 47 closed transactions to real estate agents. That's more than most real estate agents close individually, and we handed that out to a handful of agents in our marketplace. So transitioning into specifically our conversation today is going to be around video marketing to your clients, your past clients, and real estate agents. And I think I wanted to start out by talking about this. Obscurity is the single biggest killer to a small business today. As mortgage professionals, as real estate agents, we're small business owners. And unless you're working for a large bank where they're pumping you leads, I certainly don't. I'm responsible for generating my own business. I love New American Funding, but they've never given me a deal. And so obscurity, and if you don't understand what obscurity means, it means people don't know who you are. People don't know how to find you or know who you are. It's the single biggest killer to a small business. I'm going to give a good example. My wife started a brick and mortar bake shop in December of last year. Leading up to opening that, she has an enormous social media following, so big that big brands will pay her money to post on the internet. We opened up shop, and so many people were like, are you worried? You know, you're opening up a bake shop in this tiny little town that has very little foot traffic. Are you worried? There was 2 bakeries in there before you, and they both went out of business. We have yet to post negative numbers. We're 6 months into the business. Her bookkeeper and her accountant are absolutely shocked in regards to the profitability of this bake shop. Same thing, the mayor even came down and was talking with her, and they love the lines out the door. They love the energy and everything that she's doing. I say that because she is not obscure. People know who she is. People come from 30 miles, 50 miles, 100 miles, San Diego, Canada, to come to her bake shop to experience the Jenny Cookies brand and goodies. And so obscurity is something, you guys, in our industry, we need to make sure that, that we're not hiding, that people know who we are. Being top of mind, and I say that now transitioning into being top of mind is only half the battle. So going from obscurity to people knowing who we are and referring us, nowadays with the internet, that typically in the past, hey, I got referred to you, I'm calling you. Now what people are doing is they got referred to you, and what are they doing? They're going to Google and they're looking you up. So being able to control, being able to basically tee up, understand what your opponent's hand looks like and what they're playing, being able to tee up what your next client sees online is huge. So I just did a quick Google search. This happens all the time. I Googled Dan Keller Mortgage, and this pops up. This doesn't just randomly pop up. This pops up for a reason. The 1% down loan program, which we just rolled out this last month, I've created a lot of content. It's been shared a ton, so Google's recognizing that. The next thing, it's auto-populating based off of what I've done in advance, but it's auto-populating Facebook, my Facebook page. That's on purpose. The next thing, the Dan Keller Mortgage team, guess where that goes? That goes to Yelp. That's huge. And then the fourth thing is the Dan Keller Mortgage, and that goes to my website. And I'll show you exactly what this looks like. So when you were to click on that, you Google Dan Keller Mortgage, you actually click enter. These are the 4 things that show up by design, guys. And so it's important for you to understand, if you're trying to get out of obscurity and you're trying to get into a place where people not only can find you, but what's more important is, what do they find when they find you? Well, that's my website, number 1. The second arrow is my website and who is Dan page. It talks about my family. It's a picture of my beautiful wife and kids, and a little background, not a bio, a boring bio. Bios are boring, but a little background, how I got into the mortgage industry and came from professional strength and conditioning, and some of the things I love to do, and fish and coach baseball. The third one goes to my Facebook page, which shows kind of what I'm up to, the content, and I'll get to this in a minute, that I share every single week. It positions me as an advisor. And then the last thing, which I absolutely love, and people go here, is my Yelp page. 40 plus, I actually have 70-something reviews over there, 5-star ratings, and that's huge because people are going to the internet to confirm that you're the person that they want to work with, and nothing says I'm in good hands like great reviews. So let's go ahead and jump into, okay, how do we do this? How did I go ahead and how did I, over the last 5 years, create the platform that I'm on? So it starts with the platform. So I'm going to encourage you to don't rely just on your bank's website. Now I'm going to say this with a disclaimer. All mortgage companies have different policies and procedures for having an external website. The company that I'm with, because of my experience online, they've allowed me to continue to blog and have a website. I do not talk about mortgage interest rates. The only time I've ever shared anything on rates is a comparison. I'm using Mortgage Coach, which keeps us in compliance because it does have the APR features and the disclaimer that this is not a rate quote. You will need a loan estimate for that. So a website, blog is big. The second thing is you need to have a YouTube platform or YouTube channel. The third, everyone's on Facebook, so I know you probably have a personal profile, but you need a business page. Set one of those up. This doesn't take long at all to do all 3. The fourth, get yourself on Yelp. This is a huge risk for most mortgage professionals and real estate agents because creating a successful end product, which is a happy, smooth, on-time closing, without the right team in place, without the right structure in place, is unpredictable. I'm to the point in my career where I have an incredible team. I've learned how to build a team. They know what to do, and our number 1 goal is to provide a world-class mortgage experience, and we do that obviously based on our Yelp reviews and based on our production. And so if you're not there yet, be careful on Yelp, because if you screw up, people will let you know. And then the last thing is be on Zillow. The only reason why I say Zillow, I really don't like Zillow at all. I do not use Zillow for running ads. I do not pay into that. But Zillow does rank, and it ranks for your name. So get on there, use your name, your mortgage company, and send people over there to give you reviews. The only thing I left out on here, and I get questions on this all the time, Dan, what about Google Places? Why aren't you getting Google reviews? If you have a brick and mortar, so if you're a branch manager, then you need to be on Google and have a Google Places account. and get reviews. I'm not a branch manager yet. I do not have a physical location that I call my own, and so I really do not leverage Google from that standpoint. So what does a website look like? This is my website. This is my website, my blog. Full disclosure, I created this in end of 2009, 10. It ran me about $3,600. It is custom. It's on a WordPress platform. Most great websites today are on a WordPress platform. Google loves that, and so you might as well do what everyone else is doing and be on that platform. I have a guy. He works nationally. If you need a referral, he's very inexpensive. He's the one that helped me design this. He's the one that helps me maintain it. He updates it and edits it, and he is an incredible resource for you. He does a lot of work in the mortgage industry and the real estate industry, plus he will fly out and help you with lunch and learns for real estate agents and clock hour classes. He's an incredible resource, so if you would like a referral to that, let me know. But this is my website. What you can see on the main page, organically, if somebody were to go here and check me out, it's crisp, it's clean, and what they're going to see, the two big things, why do people contact mortgage professionals? One, they either want to get pre-approved, or they want to know more about what rates are doing or where they're at. So I have those two big buttons at the top. I'm going to pause right here real quick. You all have heard of Chris Smith. Chris Smith is somebody that I interviewed back in 2010 when he was with, gosh, what was he with? I forget the company, but he had a Tech Savvy Agent was the name of it. And he did a lot of speaking, and now he's blown up. He's written a couple of books. He's a guy that I follow. If you're not following Chris Smith, he wrote his most recent book, The Conversion Code. Dave Savage has had him on here. He talks a lot about conversion. And he's the one that kind of gave me the idea around having a website and white space being okay. You don't need a bunch of clutter. You know, focus on why somebody would go to your website. They either need to get pre-approved, or they're wanting to know more information about mortgage rates or loan programs. And then I run that weekly Making Sense of the Markets report, and they're right there. You can see them because the dates on those, and they're current and they're relevant. The big thing with having a website and a blog is making sure that you're creating content. So you can see this. August 6th was my last post. Before that, August 4th. Before that, July 31st. So you can see that 2 to 3 times a week I'm creating content. There's two things about that. Number one, Google likes websites and likes businesses that are creating content, new content for consumers. So Google likes that. The second thing is, with social media nowadays, we can share it. We can repurpose it. It's always out there. And so that's really big. One of the things that Chris Smith taught me as well, is that YouTube is the equivalent to, in the 1980s, the newspaper. The library. Facebook is the new newspaper. So let me say that again. Today, YouTube is the equivalent of a library. Okay, people will go to YouTube to search, archive, to search things. Facebook and social media is the 2017 version of the 1980s newspaper. People will go there to check out the news and what the heck's going on with their friends and family members and their opinions on current worldwide or local events. And so getting back to kind of my website and everything, your website, in transitioning into video, that's the reason why I was talking about YouTube and social media. Video is really big. So everywhere you go on my website, you're going to find video. Specifically want to focus right now on when somebody goes to my website. I have a process in my business where I'll have an introductory phone call with a lead, whether a real estate agent sends them over, or they've called me off of Yelp or the internet, or it's a past client referring them over. I have an initial conversation to learn more about their current situation, their timeline, and anything that I can do in the meantime to answer any questions. The next thing that I do is I get their email. And the reason why I want their email is if they never do business with me, I have their email, and they go into my weekly Making Sense of the Markets database, and they get that every single week. But I get their email, and I send them an email that sends them to this part on my website. And the first thing that they see in big, bold, red writing is, please watch this video first. This video is a 3-minute video. It tells them how excited and grateful I am that they're on this page, that they're watching this video, because it means that I get to help them navigate through one of the largest financial decisions of their lives, and that's getting pre-approved for a home loan to buy a house. Second thing that this link does is it shows that the video will tell them what to do next, and it shows them in the video and then down below the video what exactly to do next. Number one, how you apply for a home loan. You click on the Secure Online Application, just follow 2 steps. The second thing is my mortgage planning guide, which is a 16-page PDF packet that just gives them a lot of useful information. And then third, how to get that information over to us. You can scan it, you can mail it, you can upload it to a secure portal, you can fax it. I don't know if people fax anymore. We don't get a lot of faxes, but it gives them that information. Then right below that, and I address this in the video, is my What to Expect Next video series. It's a 4-part series on what to expect next now that you've been pre-approved, what to expect next now that your offer's been accepted. And these are about 2 to 3 minute videos, very informative videos. And I get a ton of feedback on these. Again, they're videos of me, just authentically, naturally, just walking them through what to expect through those phases. During the initial phase, this one, I talk about the fact that you're going to get an email from our disclosure department, sign that, or excuse me, accept that. You're going to get an email with 2 or 3 things that we need you to wet sign those and get those back to us. And so it eliminates, and I said this from stage, I think in 2015 at Sales Mastery, what this has done is it's eliminated a lot of phone calls in to my assistants, to me, and it allows us to focus on going out and getting new business or processing new business. So I'm going to pause right here. Marcy, do we have any questions about halfway through? Do we have any questions so far?
Hi, Dan. We actually do have a question.
Okay.
We received a question from Mark Brewer, and he's in the Nevada area. And he actually has a few different questions, really good questions. One of his questions was, how do you come up with the ideas to speak on to your clients and realtors?
First off, what's up, Mark? You stud. I know Mark and I have been following each other online for, gosh, 4 or 5 years. Mark, so again, in 2013 and 2015 at Sales Mastery, I talked about this. I have a rule in my business, and it's called the 2Q rule. So if more than one person asks me the same question, or if a question gets repeated by more than one person, I do a video on it, or I write a blog post on it. So that's the 2Q rule. So recently, so I do a lot of homebuyer classes, and so every single homebuyer class that I do, probably 2 a month, I ask the audience, what are your fears and what are your main questions or concerns? And so a lot of the same questions come up. Hey, how do you compete with all cash in Seattle? We're afraid of that. The other thing is appraisal issues. Gosh, that house sold for $128,000 over asking price. Will it appraise? Are you having appraisal issues? So when questions like that come up, I create mortgage commentary around that. So that's the first thing. The second thing is you got to understand, and I tell real estate agents this all the time when I do lunch and learns on social media marketing and internet marketing and video. We have between our ears that the general public wants to know. And you can't trust what you read or you see online. It's so subject to so much doggone marketing and so many different, I guess, companies, or maybe if they're bloggers, they're not actually down in the trenches producing and funding loans like we are, so it's subject to their opinions. So what I do is I literally will pick a loan program, VA for example, and I'll talk about a couple of different things that have maybe been stumbling points on a VA transaction in the past or currently, and I'll move on to a different loan program. Or when there's program changes in the industry, all you need to do, so the most recent one, the 1% loan program at New American Funding, it's a lot like the Fannie Mae 3% down program with a 2% grant, for example. I went into our intranet at New American Funding, I downloaded the guidelines, and I did a short video on it. It was that simple. And then I bullet pointed an email, and I sent that out to all my real estate agents. And that got shared numerous times because I can track, how many people open those emails, and that was really big. So keeping people current on the markets too with that information. And then speaking of keeping current matters, there's information over there. But we have an endless supply of information, Mark, to blog about, to talk about.
Awesome. And that pretty much answers his second question too, because the second question was in relation to, do you use videos during the loan process to answer repeat questions from clients? Another question he has for us today is in relation to, where did you learn about how to get to the top of the Google page? And what needs to happen to move from Google page 2 to the top of the page on the search?
Good question. That's the million dollar question, Mark. So here's the thing. I stopped messing around with Google because you've got Wells Fargo's and Quickens, and you've got all these big banks out there that have million dollar marketing budgets that I just don't have. And so what I started focusing on is owning my name. The last time I checked, Quicken and Wells and Chase Bank could care less about Dan Keller. Okay, so they're not writing about Dan Keller. They're not writing about certain parts of Kirkland or certain parts of Seattle that are on fire. So what I would do is I would partner up with a real estate agent and get ultra micro. For example, in Seattle, there's a really hot community called Ballard. It's right down by the water. It's a hotbed. Millennials love that area, and a lot of people are trying to move to that area. And so you could partner with a real estate agent and write about and create commentary on Ballard real estate, Ballard mortgage rates, Ballard this, Ballard that. And sooner than later, when somebody Googles something that has to do with Ballard real estate or mortgage, you'll rank. But you've got to show Google that you're the authority, not that you're the one with the biggest pockets that can run a bunch of ads. That's a part of it, but you've got to show Google that you're the authority in that area. Okay, but that's tough. But start with your name. Start with your name. Own your name. I always talk about having home field advantage. Start with your name. Start with your home turf, and then go from there. And do not try to compete with the big dogs, because that's what they do, and we're not on their platform.
Awesome. Now we have another question that came in from Chris Brady, and he's asking, how do you get the home buyer attendees and the average number that attend?
Awesome. What's up, Chris? Great question. It's something that, again, you've got to be passionate about it, and it's got to be a big part of your business. I committed to home buyer education about 4 years ago, so I've got a system. If you want to reach out to me offline, I can help you. I can share more information about this, but it does include a lot of video. It does include a lot of past clients. I do go to past clients, and I ask for their support. I go into businesses. I go into businesses in the local area, and I let them know, mainly for their employees, from an employee wellness program standpoint, that we're hosting a home buyer education. It's not a home buyer class. It's a home buyer education happy hour, and I center it around happy hour versus class. A lot of the first-time home buyers in the Seattle marketplace are millennials. The last thing they really want to do right now is to go back to school, so I keep it loose, and I keep it fun, and I keep it informative. And we do a lot of video in regards to the marketing. I do run, if I spend money on internet marketing, it's Facebook ads. So I will run Facebook ads. I've spent a lot of money learning how to run those and run those efficiently and right. So we use Facebook to generate some traffic. But I'm going to be honest with you, pounding the pavement is the best way to get attendance. Letting your past clients help you is another really good way. But I do, if you go to beersandhomebuying.com, beersandhomebuying.com, that's a website that we've created for our homebuyer classes. Another one, if you go to lunchandlearnwithdan.com, lunchandlearnwithdan.com, that's another website, just a landing page that I've created that I send out to real estate agents. And those are two, I call those landing pages, but we use landing pages to help drive traffic to our events.
Wonderful. Now, Maureen Davidson would like to know, do you do the home buyer classes at a title company or a realtor office, or just another space all entirely?
Yeah, Maureen, good question. So no and no, I do not. I host those independently, and I host those at nice bars or grills or restaurants that have a nice meeting area. And so being fully transparent, the last one, it cost me about $1,600 in food and alcohol. And I'd probably say about another $800 to $1,000 in ads. But we had 32 home buyers in the Seattle market show up, and I think we have 3 or 4 of those already in escrow. So it was definitely a break-even profitable process, and every single one of them is like that. I don't want to say every single one of them has 32 attendees. Sometimes we'll have 10 or 12. The smaller classes actually have a higher. We'll close 20-30% on a smaller class versus a larger class, maybe 10 to 20%. But yeah, we host those at neutral, very, again, millennials, they can smell BS and they can smell getting sold to a mile away. So I just try to keep it low-key and at a very neutral, local establishment that's kind of central to their area.
And another question from Maureen Davidson is she's wondering, what part of WordPress do you put the videos on, and do you create the page?
Yeah, good question, Maureen. So on WordPress, you can either create a page or you can create a post. And so what I'll do for my landing pages is it's a page. And then a lot of the times my Making Sense of the Market episodes, those are posts. So posts, well, both of them can be shared, but it's just the difference between a post and a page. A page is something that you can actually build out your blog, and I could go off on a whole other tangent on that. But what I do is I host the video on YouTube. YouTube will give you an embed code. I copy and paste the embed code, and I drop it into a post or a page. For example, if you go to Lunch and Learn with Dan, that's just a static landing page on my WordPress site. All I need to do is edit the dates every single month and drop in a new video, which is an embed code from YouTube. It literally takes less than 5 minutes to do that, and I've just updated and refreshed that page for this month's class. We do that for the Beers and Home Buying class. I do that for the Lunch and Learn, and then do that for my monthly budgeting class for my past clients too. So it's super simple once you have the platform. I would not try to figure this out on your own. Pay $300, $400, $500, maybe $600 to the web guy that I recommend. His name is Pat Flynn, Pat Flynn with the Pat Flynn Group. And again, message me and I can get you his information, but have him do it. He'll set it up, and then you can hire him to teach you how to do it like I did, and then you'll be well on your way. But if you try to figure it out on your own, you're going to be 10, 12, 15, 20 hours into it and still not have it down. I think we got to move on to the rest of the slides, but keep the questions coming in, you guys, and I'll get to them at the end. And if I don't, I will respond to each one of you guys with the answers offline, okay? So transitioning from video into, let's go right back up here so you guys can kind of see where we're leaving off. So we talked about website, we talked about YouTube, Facebook. Now we're going to talk about Yelp, the importance of a review site. So I want to talk about kind of the anatomy of a review site. One, you've got my professional photo right here. You've got the location, the professional photo. These are photos which are really neat of clients that have either checked in. This is actually a real estate agent that checked in to a Lunch and Learn that I hosted at a bar or at a distillery. And then more of just a personal picture. That's my family. So the really great thing up top, you got the 5 stars, and then you've got the 40+ reviews. I will tell you this, if there's a competitor in my marketplace and they have 4 reviews and I have 40, they're going to look, consumers are naturally going to gravitate toward the person with the higher reviews. So focus on increasing your reviews. That'll be big. This goes back to what Mark Brewer, the question Mark had, content. What do I talk about? I just threw out some topics, but every single month, every single week, New American Funding will send me a marketing flyer, something I can send out to my real estate agent, something I can send out to my past clients. Honestly, I take these flyers and I'll create some type of content or commentary around it. Last week's was, have you had a short seller or foreclosure? 2017 might be your year. I think they call those rebound or boomerang buyers. And so I'm actually in the process of my next weekly Making Sense of the Market video is going to be on that. But here are a bunch of different topics. If you need examples, Mark, and anyone else listening, here's about 10 or 15 examples right there of what to create content or talk about. Remember what Dave Ramsey said, though, and I've talked with Dave Savage about this before. 1 to 2 minutes. Try to keep it to 1 to 2 minutes. Just get to the point, show that you know what you're talking about, and then open up. What I try to do when I'm doing these Making Sense of the Market videos is I try to give enough content to provide clarity on the topic, but then to kind of open the door for an additional discussion or additional questions. All right, so we've got through the platforms. Now let's talk about strategy. Strategy, we're going to talk, and we've talked a little about content too. So platforms, content. The last part of your strategy that we're going to talk about today is sharing. And I think sharing is huge. Finding the platforms to get your content out can kind of be troublesome sometimes. So I'm just going to give you the 4 platforms and the 4 ways that I share my content. Number 1, social media. You got to go where the cheeks are. The cheeks are in the most seats. The stadium's packed on social media. So make sure you're using social media. I gave a presentation to a large real estate company the other day, and the broker owner said, well, he raised his hand. He goes, well, I don't really like to talk about real estate on my personal Facebook page. And I hope I didn't make him embarrassed. I think I kind of did, but then I made him feel better at the end. But I said, well, why? And I said, are you ashamed that you're the owner of a very successful RE/MAX office? And he goes, no, I'm not, no. And he goes, I just don't want to like spam all the people that follow me about that. And I go, you're not spamming. If you talk about what you do, you're not spamming people at all. In fact, I'd rather people think that I'm spamming them on my business and how I'm helping people. But at the end of the day, I do what I do, and when people need a mortgage, I get people calling me all the time that I either went to high school with. I have no relationship with them other than a friend request. They friend requested me on Facebook, and next thing you know, they're reaching out to me about mortgage questions, or they're reaching out to me about getting pre-approved or buying a house. So I gave him a few of those examples, and he had a total change of heart. So social media, now, if you're marketing, and it's always marketing, there's a right way to share stuff on social media. Share from an educator standpoint, and you're going to be fine. The second thing is, so I share on social media. The second thing is I share I have a real estate agent and business professional list. Share to those lists. I do that weekly. Some agents have said that I email them too much with information, but that's some, and I really don't care what some agents say. I care that every agent knows who I am. My number 1 goal is that by 2020, every real estate agent in Seattle will know who Dan Keller is. That's my personal goal, and I'm going to get to that. And using social media, I think it's totally doable. Okay, the third thing is to market to your past lists. So that is past closed clients or people that have referred us. I actually break that down into a VIP. I have a top 50 VIP list, and I actually send them personal videos personally every single month. Then the last thing is I make sure that leads. This has been a game changer in my business, that I send my Making Sense of the Market video to leads. I've unsubscribed myself from the New American Funding they have a drip campaign. I've taken all leads off of that because I get so many unsubscribes. Knock on wood, to this date, I have not had a lead unsubscribe from my BombBomb account due to my Making Sense of the Market videos. And I've never gotten poor feedback from a past client, lead, or pre-approved client in regards to me emailing them once a week with this content. So send valuable information to your leads, not a drip campaign. Send more valuable information to them, and I think you'll have a higher conversion rate down the line. All right, so how do I share? This is how I'm going to wrap up our presentation today. I got about 5 minutes left. How do you share? So the first thing you do is you got to get a video. I like to put everything on YouTube. I also like to put the same video on social media. Like I said, I think YouTube is considered the library. Social media is the newspaper, so I get them on both. It only takes an extra minute to upload it to Facebook. Get it on YouTube so it's there. Optimize it. Make sure you have the right title and everything, and then send it over on your social media channel as well. I put it on my website, my blog. We talked about that. I post a link on social media. And then you can reshare. So in different times of the year, or if there's news coming out about a certain product or a certain thing in the industry, you can reshare old content or old videos. And then I also share via email. Personally, I use BombBomb. I know there's other email campaigns. I pay money for BombBomb, so that does cost you a little bit of money, but I think you can use MailChimp, and up to a certain amount of videos, you can accomplish the same thing there. Slide. Let's move on. The other thing I love about BombBomb is you can track. So this is really great. You can track who opens. I've been going after a real estate agent in the Seattle marketplace, forget this, 1.5 years. The other day I saw that he opened up my video. I called him the next day. He went to his voicemail, and I've already called him probably 50 times in the last 1.5 years. Literally, I call him almost every week. And went to voicemail. The very next day he called me. And so something struck a nerve. I don't know what it, maybe he's been seeing these videos, maybe we're connected on Facebook, but something struck a nerve. He reached out to me, and we're going to do business together as a result of that. All right, so I am going to share this with you. Coach Bill Hart. Love the guy. I've coached with Bill Hart. He's an icon in the mortgage and real estate industries. I'm not going to spend time showing you how to do video. because Coach Bill, in literally 5 minutes or less, has showed you in this video. So I want you to go to Facebook, type in Bill Hart. Coach Bill, if you're listening to this, you're probably going to get some new followers, friend requests. Type in Bill Hart, add him as a friend, or follow him if he can still take on new followers, or excuse me, friends. Follow him and scroll down. On August 4th, he repurposed, so he shared a video that he did last year in February on getting started with video. He talks about how he does it with his iPhone, just like I do it, and he talks about the equipment that he has and that he uses, and even when he edits it, but he talks about a couple more important tips about how to do video really well. So if you also want to talk with Coach Bill about coaching, go to coachbillhart.com. You can reach out to him. He's super helpful. He's a great resource, and he made a big impact in my life when I was able to coach with him a couple of years ago. Consistency, you guys, is the key. So many people start just like with a diet, just like with a workout program, just like prospecting. You start calling real estate agents. You get turned down or nobody picks up their phone, and then you quit. Consistency is the key. So with social media marketing, consistency is huge. I do one a week. And last weekend was 32 weeks in a row. I made a goal. When Trump got elected last year, my phone blew up. My phone blew up from past clients, current clients. What's the market going to do? Oh, my God, blah, blah, blah. And so, you know, that provoked me. I've followed Tom Ferry for years. I've followed Grant Cardone for years. Chris Smith. A lot of these guys create, Gary Vaynerchuk, they create consistent commentary. So I finally did it. I committed to doing a video every single week. I called it Making Sense of the Markets, and I do it every single week. So consistency is key, and I can tell you this year it's made an impact on my volume. I shared my numbers earlier. My numbers are up. Industry-wide, they're down. So there's a few other factors that contribute to my numbers being up from last year, but being consistent with marketing and videos have been huge. The other thing that I want to share with you in regards to consistency is I consistently run or boost Facebook posts. I consistently do homebuyer classes. I consistently do lunch and learns for real estate agents, and I do a monthly budgeting class for all my past clients. And I market each one of those and explain each one of those using video. So video is really, really big. So I want to give you guys a couple of resources to reach out to me. If you go to my website, mymortgageguydan.com, you can message me. My email, my phone number's there. Follow me on Instagram. Follow me on Facebook. I'd love to be a resource to you. Marcy, do we have any other questions? I've got about 3 minutes left. Is there any other questions that I could answer in closing?
We have about 10 more minutes, and we do have a couple of more questions for you.
Great.
So we do have a question from Anita Aguilar and Billy Patriarca, and Anita is asking, where do you advertise your lunch and learns, and when do you start? And Billy is wanting to know what the format is that you follow for your home buyer happy hour.
Awesome. Okay, so Anita, I'm going to answer your question, and you might have to repeat it, Marcy, for Billy. So
sure.
Anita is, where do I advertise? Anita, I go straight old school with a little new school. So I call. I have a list of about 130 real estate agents that if I were to host a party, I'd like them to show up to. So I call each one of those agents. I call them, and then I have my assistant 3 days out from the event call them. So 1, I call and I invite them. 2, I have lunchandlearnwithdan.com. It's a landing page where there's a short video that talks about the lunch and learn that we're going to be hosting, the topic and where it's at and how to RSVP. And then 3rd, we will make a flyer and we will hand it out and we'll drop it by the real estate offices. I used to, when traffic was down, I used to do invitations, personal invitations. I had my assistant send out a personal invite with an admit to coupon. If you're just starting out, that's not a bad idea because an agent gets that. They'll invite a colleague. They'll go to the video. They'll see the video or the information on it, and it's got to be a good topic. I do really good topics on prospecting, team building, and marketing. And then I also do a lot of talks on money, on how to manage your money, how to manage your P&L, and stuff like that. So for real estate agents, and I'll bring in a financial planner, I'll bring in an appraisal or appraiser, I'll bring in my social media and my website guy. So it's not always me just preaching. So that's what I do, a little old school with some new school marketing tactics. And I don't know if I mentioned this too, but I send out an email. I use BombBomb to send out the email 2 weeks out, and I send it out. I send that out a day before as well. Okay, so phone call, email, little print, and video marketing. All right. So what was the other question? Had to do with lunch and learns.
The question from Billy was, what is the format for the Homebuyer Happy Hour?
Yes, Billy. Great question. Gosh, it sounds like I should do a separate coaching call on homebuyer
just
classes.
On your lunch and learns.
Lunch and learns and homebuyer classes. It's something, you guys. I went to school to be a professor, so I love teaching, and so it's something. When I got in the mortgage industry in '09, a big part of my building my mortgage practice was around education. That's why I do the lunch and learns, and that's why I do the homebuyer classes. But the platform that I use and the content is literally every single class, Billy. I ask all the attendees, what are your fears in the marketplace right now as you are driving to this event tonight? What were your biggest concerns or your fears? And then as you were driving to tonight's event, what was the number 1 or 2 things that you really wanted to get out of the class? Okay? And I take notes, and I make sure that, starting out, and it changes seasonally. Prior to the election, it was all about the election. After the election, it was the economy. What the heck, is the regime change with a Republican coming in, specifically Trump, what's that going to do to the markets? And the bubble's been a big talk, and so I just research stuff like that. I research the markets up here in Seattle, the markets nationally, and I talk about relevant stuff like that. I think that's why we have a lot of success in our classes in regards to conversion, because we talk about relevant things, and get this, we don't sell. We're not pushing, we're not selling, we're in a neutral atmosphere. So when you kind of ask what the platform is, neutral, meaning at a bar or a pub in a room that's off of we're not right in the middle of the pub. We're in a meeting room or a banquet room. And then 2, the platform is centered around homebuyer education, yes, but we talk and we address the fears and the questions and the concerns as we present. And then from a real estate agent standpoint, I always have a real estate agent with me, and the real estate agent just gets to talk about the process for buying a home. I always somehow mix in the process for getting approved, some of the fears. When I have a slide called Fear Factors, and some of the fears we talk about are credit score, down payment. So that allows me to talk about minimum credit score requirements, down payment requirements. So I don't go off of like a templated slide deck. We do have a slide deck, but it's super informal.
Awesome. We have another question that came in from Rich Young, and he's asking, do you pay Yelp for more prominent display or additional advertising?
Great question, Rich. And no, I turn down Yelp every single week. They call me every week. And with my hand on the Bible, if there were one here, I got one on the playbook right here. Absolutely not. I've never paid Yelp a penny, and I won't. I don't need to. I've been on Yelp for a long time. I've optimized my Yelp profile, and I have plenty of reviews. The only reason why somebody would pay Yelp is to show up as an ad over someone else in the marketplace. And I already own my own marketplace, so I show up just fine there. If I was to try to go into another marketplace, I would maybe consider Yelp ads. I just really don't need them right now, but that would be the only reason why you would pay Yelp, is to show up in front. And I see this all the time, that somebody from Seattle, downtown Seattle, is paying Yelp to show up 50, 60, 70 miles north of them in other communities in their searches, and it just doesn't make sense. People 50 miles north of Seattle are not going to drive downtown Seattle. They're going to look for somebody locally that has good reviews. So I just don't think it's a big win, and so no, I have not paid Yelp yet to this date.
And then Michael Lowitz is asking, what level of detail do you build into your TCA reviews that you build for your clients?
Yeah, great question, Michael. Really great question. So when I follow the Mortgage Coach script to a T on TCAs, I try to use video as much as I can. And I almost talked about TCAs earlier in regards to, I think Mark or somebody had a question in regards to questions that you get from clients. When I do a detailed TCA report, and I do that with every single client, It eliminates the questions on rates. I learned this from Jeremy Forcier a long time ago, and he's a guy that if you're not following Jeremy, go back through Mortgage Coach and watch all of his interviews. When you do a TCA to a new client, just for example, I'm just throwing this out there, but I will do a TCA with a 4.125 30-year fixed, a 4% 30-year fixed, and a 3.875 30-year fixed. I'll say, hey, great news. We've got you locked in at all three of these. I just need your advice on which program you like. The 4.125 has a little bit of credit coming back. The 4 has no cost or minimal costs associated with the closing costs. And then the 3.875, as you'll see, has a little bit more costs associated with your down payment. That's as a result of discount points. So we're able to hammer out any questions or concerns, or even it lowers, I believe, rate shopping because you presented that to the client up front. So it depends on the client, it depends on the TCA, but I always cover a few things. I always talk about the agent and congratulate them on choosing such real estate agent, because I like to CC the real estate agent on that. The other thing is I like to talk specific. If they're relocating, I'm excited to have the opportunity to help relocate you to the Seattle area from San Jose. You're going to love it up here. And then I talk specifically about the loan programs. If it's jumbo versus an 80-10-10, there's so many. It's all specific, but I try to keep it short, about 2 minutes or less, and informative to eliminate a lot of the typical questions that would come up throughout the process.
Awesome, and then we have one last question before we get going here. The last question comes in from Maureen Davidson, and she's asking, on your weekly market email, how do you create the whole email with all the information in it?
Love it. Yeah, the whole email with all the information in it. So if you're looking at the screen right now, this is Publisher. So all I did was go into Publisher. I have a slide deck in Publisher. And I've used two different types of software. I've used Jing, Jing project.com. It's free. And basically it just captures your screen and allows you to do video and audio, and it records your screen. I've upgraded. I pay, I think it's about $500 a year to Screencast-O-Matic. Screencast-O-Matic. If you just Google those, you'll see. And I use Screencast-O-Matic. It allows you to record longer videos. I like the clarity, and I like the fact that I can move the video around a little bit more. But that's essentially what I do, and all it does is it screen records. So I can go back and forth to slides. I've also used those before, even with a TCA report where I've had clients that had additional questions, and so I've screen captured a TCA mortgage planning report and recorded that and sent that off as well. So that's what I use to record my screens, and that's what I use to do my weekly Making Sense of the Market videos. So it sounds, Marcy, it sounds like that's it, and we got to get wrapped up. If you guys have any questions, you guys, first off, thank you so much for taking time out of your day to join us. I want to give a huge shout out to again, Dave Savage and the Mortgage Coach crew. They made a huge impact in my business. If you're not leveraging them and leveraging all the resources that Mortgage Coach has to offer, the Tuesday interviews, the top producer interviews, Dave is just doing so much from a content creation standpoint. It's valuable. It's incredible. Leverage the Rate Watch app. If you have questions on creating TCAs, they've got so many good trainings in there. But if you need anything from me, if I can be a resource for you, as a member of the Mortgage Coach tribe, reach out to me, and look forward to seeing you guys around at local events, and we'll see you down the road, okay?
And Dan, we are always grateful to have you as a speaker on our Tuesday interview, and love the content and information that you share with our entire Mortgage Coach team. Now, before we get going, I'd like to go ahead and just launch a poll question, really just asking how everyone liked today's sales training call. So go ahead and answer that question before you get going, and we will see everyone again next Tuesday. Thank you, everyone. Have a wonderful day.